In another very special World Triathlon podcast, we get to hear from our women's Olympic champion, Flora Duffy, just 2 days after she achieved her lifelong Olympic dream and won gold at Tokyo 2020. Flora, congratulations. Are you still on cloud nine?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely still on a very big high. It's been such a whirlwind since I crossed that line on Tuesday. I don't
Yep.
know, everything's blurring for me. But yeah, it's just been crazy and nonstop. But yeah, so cool as well.
I suppose, yeah, when it all kind of feels a bit too much, then you just reset to that moment, do you? And sort of go back to that point and think, well, I've done it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel a lot more relaxed now. So I'm very happy to just kind of go with the flow and get pulled to quite a few different interviews and media requests and sponsor requests. So yeah, but it's been really cool. And I mean, I would much rather this than be like upset and sulking in my room or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely the better case scenario. But I will say so tomorrow I'm leaving. I'm flying out of Tokyo, but I'm kind of looking forward to being on the plane for 10 hours and just chilling and turning my phone off and just watching a movie and sleeping.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and you'll probably go through, that people say, don't they, when you're 30,000 feet up, emotions kind of bubble to the surface. You might have a few moments up there, I'd imagine, in the calm of it all as well, right?
Yes, I know. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm not like breaking into tears the entire flight. But yeah, very possible.
How has it been with all the side stories? It's obviously the gold is everything for you, but then you've also become part of the stories of the games. You were Bermuda's first ever Olympic gold. You're getting messages of congratulations from Hollywood A-lister Michael Douglas. um, so that to have that side of it as well, which you probably, can't imagine you really think about before, but you are forever entwined with these games.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it's the reach of winning a gold medal is far bigger than I could have ever expected. Um, yeah, I mean, as you said, like coming into the games, you're so focused on your performance and the details and everything that you need to do to keep your life as simple as possible. So everything just revolved around my training, resting, recovering, and repeating. And and then you come into the games, you have a good race, and then your world just like explodes, and suddenly, you know, almost everybody that you've kind of been on this journey with from when I was like a little kid, has watched and is like sending you messages. And I mean, it's great. It's really incredible to see, to have received so much sort of support and congratulations and everything. Like, yeah, really pretty wild. And I will say, yeah, when I saw on Michael Douglas's Instagram that he was sending a congratulatory message to me, I think that I was like, okay, this is too much. This has reached a new level. But yeah, that's very cool. He and his wife, of course, Catherine Zeta-Jones, they lived in Bermuda for many years, and their son went to school in Bermuda for a portion of his life, actually the same school that I went to. So yeah, that was actually really cool. And yeah, I think so many people have a connection to Bermuda and realize how special this is. I mean, of course it's special for me, but it's so special for the island of Bermuda. And it's like, it's not just my medal, it's our medal.
And I suppose compare the Michael Douglas message to the scenes from the bar, presumably near where your family live and so on, and like they were just absolutely loving it. And to have done that for them as well must feel just incredible.
Yeah, I think they're probably so overwhelmed. I mean, I saw, yeah, even my parents, they've done quite a few interviews. But, my mom said, going in, just arriving at the bar that was having showing the race and inviting people to come watch or whatever. She did just arriving there and seeing the amount of people that have come out to support and just watch your daughter, her words, race, she said immediately that was also just like such an emotional reaction of just like, wow, like this is crazy. And then, yeah, my brother was there, my older brother, um, with a bunch of his friends that his friends that he's had since like childhood days. And so they've obviously all followed my journey. And so they were all there and he was watching with them, and they're pretty fun, loud, crazy bunch. So yeah, they were definitely starting to enjoy themselves. And yeah, I've seen all the videos of them singing and dancing and chanting and just like erupting in joy. And yeah, it was really cool to see. They FaceTimed Dan right after the race while I was doing some media stuff. So Dan came over to me and showed, and they were just going wild. And yeah, it was pretty crazy.
You mentioned Dan, obviously your husband, who's been along this journey with you, and as have a lot of people, right? This has been a long time
Mhm.
coming, and it's your fourth games and so on, and it's it's been a long process, lots of ups and downs, the injury issues and so on. Was there a point, like even this year? I know, going into Leeds, we spoke, and um, you weren't probably fully fit, and didn't know how that run was going to go. So there were points even this year that you weren't entirely sure you were going to make that start line.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I've had so many ups and downs in my career. And um yeah, even coming into this year, like January, February, I was fairly healthy. I kind of got injured towards the back half of 2020, and that kind of just lingered a little bit into 2021. And just because it kind of wasn't feeling quite right, it really took me a while to get into my rhythm and groove of training. And yeah, so I definitely had thoughts of like, wow, maybe this is not my year. Like, I definitely could feel like 2020 had taken quite a lot out of me of, just dealing with all of the COVID lockdowns and the uncertainty. And I mean, I was stuck in South Africa, and then I got stuck in Europe, and then yeah, it was just it was so much. And then so going into 2021, I was just struggling a bit physically and even mentally and emotionally of just like trying to figure out my why, to be honest, which seems weird because I mean it was an Olympic year and I had this building up to Tokyo. But it just, yeah, I really had to like think about what I was doing, and just also just dealing with the struggles of like, I don't think this is going to happen for me this year. It just, nothing feels right. And then sure enough, I mean, I have some really great people in my life to sort of I don't know, give me perspective. And um just just started to just think about it, just having fun and not worry, not excessively worry about everything. And yeah, just finally found my groove. And training started to go really, really well. And things completely changed. And I think that can happen quite quickly as an athlete. You can be
Hmm.
going flying high, and then suddenly you're injured, or you're struggling, and then things just click and you're like, wow, all right, now I'm back. And so yeah, I felt really good. And then I flew back over to Boulder in April and got off the plane and had a really sore back. And that just dragged and dragged and dragged. And yeah, again, I was like, wow, this is in April, mid-April. And I'm like, wow, the games are around the corner at this point. And it just felt like a battle. And but yeah, as I said, I've got some good people in my life that helped um yeah, continue to give me perspective. And that, perhaps this isn't what I envisioned my buildup would be, but just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And just always keep the faith. And yeah, then eventually Leeds, got through that, then things started to really click. And I was super lucky to have Chelsea Burns and Joanna Brown train with me from basically from Leeds until leaving for Tokyo. And that made the world of difference to have those two there. We trained hard, but everything, it was fun. We were laughing, joking, and they really just kept me calm and present and really mellowed me out. And I can't thank those two enough for being there and training with me in the build up for Tokyo.
So that last block with them was another of those click moments for you, a different type of click moment, but I can imagine them being able to sort of slice through any kind of moments of tension or anxiety quite quickly with, you know,
Oh yes,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, they can definitely calm things down and get the humor going very, very quickly. And if I ever was feeling tensed or stressed, they could easily just sort of mellow out a situation, and you're suddenly not thinking or worrying about your training or the race, or if something's slightly hurting you and your body. Like, yeah, um, yeah, they were really great.
What were the specific things you were kind of working on mostly during that? Was it mainly run work you were doing then? You've always had a very sort of specific targeted coaching regime for each element, haven't you? You know, a swim coach, a run coach, so on. So, um, and it was like that all the way up to the last moment, was it, before flying to Tokyo?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I guess we back up going into Leeds, I was in pretty good shape. I mean, I had some like injury issues and kind of, whatever. But I guess the one good thing about triathlon is like, yeah, maybe you're a bit injured with the running, but you can still swim and bike and keep a very high level of fitness. So anyway, but going into Leeds, we hadn't done too much specific race prep work. And so, in Leeds was a good gauge of, okay, what areas do I need to work on. Got a lot of feedback from the race, and then that feedback put into the training and the preparation leading into Tokyo to know that I would be really sharp, really ready to go. So the big thing I knew in Tokyo, the swim would be super key. And in Leeds, I didn't have a terrible swim, but it wasn't great and it wasn't where I needed to be. And so, yeah, I learned a lot on what I needed to work on my swim there, and really focused on it going into Tokyo. And yeah, even with all my bike training this year, everything has been geared towards this course. I mean, the course in Tokyo is incredibly technical and so many surges. So all of my training was sort of geared around being able to cope with those surges so that they didn't take it completely out of my legs, so that my legs were still in pretty good shape for the run. And so I have to thank my coach, Nate, for that. Just the amount of thought and detail that goes into my training plan is really quite remarkable. And yeah, and then with my running, I think I've had to work on it really hard over the last few years and worked a lot of my biomechanics and gotten to a pretty good sustainable place that the level is pretty high, even if I have a few like blips along the way. So yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of feedback came from Leeds, and a lot of feedback came from the test event, and kind of put it all in the training plan, and it got me pretty ready to go here.
Is Nate someone you've worked with for a long time? I mean, you've kind of been responsible for this shift in the way the races are run in the women's races. It's, the focus back to the bike when 10, 15 years ago, that didn't look like it was going to be the case. So yeah, has he been part of that process for a long time as well?
So I've only worked with Nate since the end of 2017. But I've known him for years and years and years. Previously, I would say previously I was working with Neil Henderson, and he really helped to develop me as an athlete and really helped to develop my bike. He is an expert bike coach himself, alongside being a triathlon coach. So he really helped me develop. And then I would say switching to Nate was just I don't know, an excellent refresh. It also took everything up to another level of detail, specificity. Nate and Dan get along really well, so they can always chat if like I'm not giving the appropriate feedback. You can always get the exactly how is Flora doing from the husband, right? And so they can talk. So it's a really nice team effort alongside with my running coach Ernie, who lives in South Africa, and so the three of them chat and communicate often, and they all know me so well and could read how I'm doing so well just kind of by looking at me, watching me move. And so it's been a really great team partnership that I think has really allowed my training to go up another level, my preparation into races, and just having more resources available to me as well to allow me to come into a race and feel like I'm on the same level of support as like the bigger countries like the US or GB or something like that. so yeah, it's just been a nice progression over the years, um, of building up and yeah, getting myself into a good space.
You say he can, he can read you, but I would imagine you're the kind of person that is across all the details as well. You're not just following what people are telling you. You're there going, I can imagine you're as exacting of them as you are of yourself, are you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one thing I really like about my coaching team is that I have a seat at the table as well. I'm not just being told what to do. Like, I can really give a lot of feedback of what I think needs to be in the training plan, of what races I want to do, why I want to do them, why I don't want to do them. And they're very receptive of that and, allow me to express that, not just tell me to go to these races because they think so, or, whatever. Like, it's definitely a very much of a teamwork and an open conversation both ways, which is, I think, is really, really great. And something for me in my career right now, being in my 30s, I've done this for so long that it's really nice that I can feel like I have a seat at the table there and give my thoughts and opinions, and we can kind of all work together, and it it works out. But I mean, Nate's definitely like the maybe like the top seed gets the final decision, or if he's like, you definitely shouldn't race, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, so it's a really nice little teamwork partnership we have.
And then, into the race itself, some fairly horrendous conditions you woke up to. How had the night before gone? And there's, everybody knew there was a storm coming, didn't know exactly when. Will the date be moved even? So a lot to think about already.
Yes. Well, I mean, when we were at the race briefing on 2 days before the race, and they were saying, well, it's possible that the race could be delayed 2 days because a typhoon is coming in. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to be kidding me. But at the same time, I was like, well, this is very appropriate. I mean, it's already been postponed a year. What's another 2 days? Like, this just kind of fits with the roller coaster that it has been to get here. But I'm very, very glad it was not delayed 2 days. I was like, I'm ready to race. We just need to get this done. um, so yeah, but then
Just describe, like, that actually the scenes when you
yeah,
out of the window, when you did look out, well, when the sun had come up. I mean, it was absolutely biblical storm, wasn't it?
oh yeah, it was. Well, I woke up at 3 a.m. and it was pouring rain and super windy, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And
This
then
doesn't look like
yeah,
Boulder.
no, and it doesn't look anything like the test event or anything like the 3 days, 4 days I've been here when it's been blue sky, sunny, super hot, humid. I mean, it was still humid on race day, but I was like, what is this? So yeah, it was raining the whole morning, much cooler than expected. Instead of
Mm.
trying to stay cool before the race, I was trying to stay warm. I mean, I had like, a jacket on, a couple towels around me, my shoes. Like, I wore that all onto the pontoon, um, where we start the race, where normally we're not able to take anything on the pontoon. I'm so grateful that we were allowed to keep all of
Yeah,
our clothing on until the last minute. That was
which was
very
intended for ice vests and things,
it was
obviously.
intended, right, yeah, for ice vests, wet towels, whatever. And then it got completely sweat. I did a swim warm up in my backup race suit because I was like, I can't keep a wet race suit on for 30 minutes, for the 30 minutes of when the swim warm up ends and the race starts. Like, I've got to change into something dry. And like, just, you would never think of having to do that stuff when you're racing in Tokyo, when you've done your whole heat prep. You thought it was going to be 30°, 80% humidity, and then it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, after you guys were just sort of filing over the bridge there, and yeah, shivering. There was like a spray in the face, wasn't there? It was. I mean, obviously you were all going into battle, but it really added a whole nother level. Um, you said the swim obviously went very well. Presumably, by the time you came out, you were pretty pleased with who you were alongside on the bike there as well.
Oh yes, I was very, very happy. I mean, when I got to the first buoy and I was in pretty good position, I was like, whew, okay, this is good. And then I had to fight a little bit to get, not fight like physically, don't worry, but really like pushing and like holding to try to like, hold my place to get onto the feet that I wanted to be on. And got there and then quickly realized it was Georgia's feet. And then I could see it just ahead of Georgia was Summer. And so I was like, okay, well, this is definitely a good place to be. And then coming out of the first lap, I looked up and I could see Jess exiting. Then I could, just see like, okay, this is really good position. Second lap of the swim, all good. And then, onto the bike. When you have Jess, Georgia, Katie, and then myself, I was like, this is great. Whoa.
Yeah.
This is all we need. And then, the group sort of like slowly.
I suppose Summer dropped back, didn't she?
So slowly reduced throughout the race.
Mm.
And then also when I got the first split to, I think it was the second group, it was like 65, 70 seconds. I was also like, cool, game on.
And then it was an impeccable run, and it was obviously straight out of T2. You knew that was what you were going to do, push the pace and manage to maintain it, a phenomenal pace. Watching you come down that blue carpet on the onto the beach that last time, and you were actually flying. And obviously you knew that the gap was big enough and you were able to soak it up and so on. But equally, then watching back and seeing the photos and stuff, it seemed like the sort of the waves of emotions because of everything you said about the build up and the uncertainties and so on. But it was a sort of a ecstasy, disbelief, relief, everything kind of somewhat in waves by the looks of it.
It definitely was a lot of emotions coming up going down that final straight. I guess sort of subconsciously everything that's like gone on the last few years, the ups and downs, the points where I didn't think I would race at this level again because I had hurt my foot so bad and it just wasn't coming right. And the pressure and expectation of coming in as Bermuda's only medal hope, and not the only medal hope here, but the only medal hope in 40 years. I mean, it's kind of something, it's quite something to manage, I will say. I think just all of that. And then also just knowing that like on the one day that mattered, I executed one of my best race performances. And, that's also really special. So it was definitely a lot. And then I was also just so thrilled for Georgia, who I know has also had her own ups and downs. And then of course for Katie, who, she's just such a champion, and what she's been through this year and what she's overcome, and to just, compose herself and produce a race like that, given the buildup. I knew physically she's certainly capable of that, but to just see it happen and get her medal, it was really cool. Like so many different storylines, so many different emotions, and I think that's what's special about racing, and certainly what's special about racing here on the Olympic stage.
It was an amazing podium for sure. And I asked Christian this yesterday as well, but the moment when you were on the floor and you could hear a pin drop, really, there was some sort of camera shutters going off, but there was a real silence for a minute or so while you were lying there. Were you just sort of lost in your own world as well? I know you then got up and fired up your family and so on, but it was amazing to be a part of that as well. Just that sort of silence was quite something. Did you have any awareness of that, or were you kind of lost in your own?
No, I was definitely pretty lost in my own thoughts and what was going on. I think like the moment was so big, it was like really hard to even take in. It was just so overwhelming. But definitely just lost in my own thoughts and emotions, and like just like what the heck just happened. Or it's kind of funny. It's like you have this big dream and this big goal, and here you are on race day, and you're so composed and so focused during the race, particularly our race with the wet conditions and the technical bike course. And then suddenly it's all over and you've won, and that's it. And you're just, I don't know. Just laying there. I couldn't tell you I can't even remember anything about the sounds or the noises or what was happening.
No, but also I suppose on a bike like that, is it even more mentally exhausting as well? Like that, you can't switch off, right? It's
Oh no.
every corner. People, it was tense for every corner. You just nothing happened here, nothing happened here.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so many corners on this course. And then yes, in the wet, like you had to be so focused of, you know, setting up your speed correctly, not breaking through the corner, setting up your line correctly, and then doing it all again and then again and again and again for 8 laps. Like so focused. Yeah, it was definitely, there was no time to think about anything else. I mean, I was thinking about my cornering, um, riding smart, and then taking in my fuel and hydrating. And that was it. Like, it was just so laser focused.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think many people did you share with many people like that pressure that you obviously felt about the Bermudian sort of backstory, that first gold and that first prospect? Because I can't imagine it was something that many people knew you were also going through.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, many people did know. I mean, of course, my team knew, my coach knew, Dan knew, um, and those, yeah, really close around me did. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think everyone also is so focused on their own Olympic buildup that you perhaps don't know too much about, like the pressures or the expectations that the other is facing exactly, other than that sort of everyone has some degree of pressure on them, whether it's um, you know, their own or from their federation or their country. But yeah, I mean, I think it is a different level when your country's only medal hope. Um, it
Mm.
definitely does add a degree of expectation and pressure
And celebration. When
and
you go back to
celebration.
that,
Yeah.
when you go back to that island, are you prepared? Because I mean, for the first WTS Bermuda, it was pretty wild, wasn't it? And so this time around, who knows? You're probably going to get lifted on someone's shoulders and carted around the island for the first
Yeah.
48 hours or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think I need a little bit of a rest before I go back. It's going to be absolutely wild. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Kind of need to figure out exactly when that can happen, because I'm also quite keen to do a bit more racing this year. And it's also travel's quite complicated with COVID. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to sit down and figure out exactly when we can go chat to people in Bermuda to see exactly what sort of celebration they want to have, and get it all figured out. But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a pretty crazy time.
Yeah. And for the next few days, you've obviously already done a lot. There's going to be so much more to come. And that is, as we said, like part of being one of the stories of the games. And it's Japan topping the medal table, Simone Biles pulling out of the gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
you winning Bermuda's first Olympic gold medal. You are alongside these great stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose, that pressure that you mentioned there is something that obviously Simone was feeling in a whole nother way as well. And perhaps like the fact that she felt she could withdraw from the competition um, is a really positive thing for sport. But that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, probably, right? It would be sort of suck it up. Don't even, you wouldn't even probably consider pulling out. And now it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it was such a powerful move by her, and yeah, really inspiring that she's really taking care of herself first and knowing her limits and her boundaries. And um, yeah, and to be honest, I can't even imagine the level of pressure and expectation that she's had to deal with. I mean, she's the face of these games. Every time I turn on the TV, she's in a commercial. And yeah, so, and especially in a sport like gymnastics, where if your head's not in the game and you make one mistake, I can't even imagine the repercussions of it. So yeah, I mean, she's just such a role model, and it's amazing that she's had almost, it does take a bit of strength and courage and showing up for yourself to um say, no, I'm not okay, I can't compete at a level like here at the Olympics. So yeah, I'm
Mm.
such kudos to her, and yeah, very inspiring.
And a new word entered the sort of sporting lexicon. Had you come across twisties before? That is the sort of gymnastics equivalent of the yips, apparently. So that's what she was feeling, the twisties, which is when you normally would do something in your sleep and you kind of run up and then it all just sort of falls apart and you lose it and you can't just do what used to come so naturally. That is apparently what she was kind of going through.
Right. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
And then on a positive note, but your Dan is here with you. He's been with you all the way along the journey as well. That has obviously been a massive part of your success, and great to be able to have him there as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I could not be here today without Dan. That's for sure. I mean, he's been sort of like the one person that's probably believed in me the most, like more than I've believed in myself, to be honest. And when we first met in 2013, I was kind of half in triathlon, half not, trying to figure out, do I want to do this? Do I not? I was graduating university, and Dan had followed my career as a junior and knew I was second at Junior Worlds and had multiple podiums multiple top tens when I was like 18 or 19 in these big World Cups. And so, I think he knew I had this like potential, and I just sort of lost my way. And he's just been kind of the one person that's been able to help me, navigate my way back to the top with, his support and his guidance. And to be honest, his absolute belief in me. Like, yeah, just, it's really special. And that's so special that we could be here together. We're Team Bermuda, we're very small, but I think having him, that's sort of the team manager, and I guess if I hate the title high performance director, so I'm not even going to do that, but he would be in that sort of role. And I think he's probably, I don't know, one of the best at it, the way he can, read races, know the preparation, know the details. And I think it's also so helpful that the person that knows you the best and your sort of favorite person in the world is the one that's standing next to you just before you're about to start a race. So it's just really special.
Yeah. So was it a sort of a shared roar at the end, or like more, what is the kind of emotion you share with your husband, who's been part of the journey when you win the Olympics, and when you're kind of sat there in the car or whatever, going back to the thing, and you just look at each other and like nod and
yeah, well, I think he got pretty emotional. But to be honest, it's in such a whirlwind that we haven't actually had much time to just sit like the two of us and just like soak in the moment, So I think that'll only really happen once we get back to Boulder. And then, but like right after the race, I think Dan is definitely not the type that'll come like charging over to me and give me a hug. He's like one of the people I find the last. I think he always just like takes a moment for himself and just watches and observes the whole like moment and taking it in. But I guess it is pretty crazy.
There did seem to be quite a lot of people trying to locate Dan immediately after, actually.
Yes, I know. I was like,
that's fairly regular occurrence in those moments for him.
Yes. I was like, can someone please just go find Dan, because I would like to see him now. And I was like, you're probably gonna have to search for him because he'll be like hiding somewhere or something like that.
Yeah. Slightly red around the eyes for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, you crossing and then Georgia, like you said, after everything she'd been through, plus puncture, plus Katie, it was unbelievably emotional, really, all around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I didn't even know Georgia had a puncture until the end of the race. Well, it's unfortunate she had a puncture, but luckily, if you're going to have a puncture, to have it right where she had it, so close to the finish of the bike.
True. And then you helped her up just as she was going through cramp.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, and so just so what is your next race? Do you have the next one in the schedule already?
My next race, that's a good question. I think there was quite a few options on the table, depending on how Tuesday went. And so now I need to sort of figure it out, but I'm pretty sure I will be in both Montreal and Edmonton. So that's kind of the next. I think I'm gonna take my racing sort of month by month here and see how it goes. But yeah, definitely be Montreal, Edmonton, and of course the WTCS in Bermuda in October. I'm very, very, very excited for that one. And we'll have a team relay. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a really special weekend.
Yeah, look out for that one. And again, talking to Christian yesterday, he was talking up the possibility of a race in Norway now and Bergen, his hometown. And,
Oh wow.
You could only presumably completely back the idea of, how amazing it is to be able to have that kind of impact purely because of, you essentially.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Definitely you're like, wow, because of me? Huh? This is strange, but okay. But I would totally love to go race in Norway. So yes, let's hope that can happen.
You won't be here for the mixed relay then? You'll be flying or no?
I will have arrived back just in time to turn my TV on and watch. I'm very excited.
Nice. Oh, that'll be a moment just of kind of relaxation and
yes.
So go on, quick top three. Who are you having? You've been in the paddock with quite a lot of them now. Give us a
yeah. Quick top three. Okay. I think GB are going to be pretty tough to beat. So they're my gold medal pick. Mm-hmm. And they are so meticulous and so dialed that I think at this stage they'll pull it off. So I'm going to go GB. And then second US and third France.
Yeah, that seems pretty strong.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. I mean, some dark horses out there, the Dutch, obviously the Aussies, but yeah. Kelleheens obviously arriving for the Belgians, but yeah, I think that's
Yes, I know there are some dark horses, but to know just from the little insights I know, I think some of the potential dark horses might have there was kind of a few people that pulled up, I think, a little bit hurt or maybe had crashed an individual, and maybe there's a few but I don't know. I mean, this is the Olympics, it's mixed team relay, so many surprises can happen, and I think it's just gonna be really exciting.
It's gonna be nuts, isn't it? At that moment when whichever team it is crosses the line, it's gonna be
it's gonna explode.
And you're putting together a Bermuda team for October, is that right? Is there going to be a Bermuda mixed relay team?
Yep, we'll definitely have a team. Yeah. Great. So that'll be really exciting. Mm-hmm.
Great. Flora, thank you very much. Congratulations again. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Great to chat.
Well, enjoy the next few days, months, everything. And see you in Montreal.
Yeah, cool. See you then. Okay, bye.
And there she was, a very satisfied Olympic champion, Flora Duffy. If you heard Christian Blumenfeld's episode where he revealed he had tipped off Flora to choose number 15 on the pontoon, then I can reveal that according to husband Dan, she likely would have chosen it regardless, but it did help bolster her confidence and belief that it was the shortest line. So there you go. Huge thanks once again and congratulations to the women's Olympic champion. Next up, the debut of the mixed relay, and fireworks ahead for sure. Thanks for listening.